Welcome, everyone. This is Glenda Dawson, and I have LD with me. And this is Glenda's Dragon's Den. Glenda's Dragon's Den is live on the Conscious Awakening Network on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, and other streaming platforms like Spotify. Um, Tonight, we have a phenomenal guest, Patrick Cross, who has been in the paranormal field for at least 30 years. And you know what? Let him tell you all about himself and how he got
And
here.
as you can see, he's thrilled to be here.
Yeah. So, hmm. Welcome back, Patrick. We had a little difficulty
Yes,
there,
hi.
huh? Hi. So tell us about
Okay.
yourself.
You just cut off.
Yep. Tell us all about yourself.
Oh my goodness. It's a novel plus. A novel, a movie, a horror story, and a comedy.
So,
What do I do? If you've seen me, okay, well, if you see me on the other show, Paranormal Dolly liked, and I support that show. It sounds like it's good starting off. Been in the paranormal for almost maybe more than 30 years because I had childhood experiences growing up. And I grew up in a haunted house and a murder house. And that's where it all started. So I didn't even know what was happening or what to expect or why all these things were happening to me. Um, Other than the fact that my mother was very psychic and sensitive. And when you're a young kid, you just don't know what to expect. And when the things start happening in your house, doors opening, doors closing, sounds, voices, air, walking, people, sounds, more doors opening, more sounds, more things touching you and hair, and uh, eventually attacking you and doing all kinds of stuff, and even having an organ playing by itself when it's not even plugged in.
mm,
That's really where I was started off. And originally, I was in the '60s, and it was in Toronto, Canada. So my father looking to buy a house. The whole area that was being developed was Indian ground, and it was all being wiped out and demolished for new housing to come in. And my father saw this house for sale, and there was previous owners in it, so he thought it was a great deal. And why so cheap? And at the time, he was disclosed that it was in the news as well that there was a murder there. The family who was there was actually killed and chopped up and with an axe,
mm,
and they didn't really want to talk about it. So my father, being in the war, didn't really care. He didn't think it was much of a deal because he's been through all kinds of death and in the war and World War II and everything else. He didn't really think it was, oh, well, I can do all that. And the house was originally owned by a family named Barrett family. And it was just weird. No, not the Barrett family. The actual person who killed the mother and the father and the daughter is named Greg Barrett.
mm.
So this became really sensational news in the 60s in 1969. And what had happened was, I guess the father and the mother didn't want this guy visiting the daughter anymore, and the guy went kind of psycho, got an axe, said, well, if I can't have her, nobody can. And he attacked the mother and killed the mother and chopped her up and killed the father and killed the daughter girlfriend. And he was sentenced for life. To this day, I think he's still in jail. I think he died in jail. And then I just ended up being part of the family and living in the house growing up. It didn't really happen until I guess it was older when I could kind of understand what was going on. You know, just cold air, mist, sounds, voices. Basically, in the basement, in the rec room, there was walking and footsteps, and you could turn off the lights and see things walking around, and then turn it back on again. It was just like crazy. And then my dad had another room where he was working. He had a lot of plans. He was an engineer, a jet engine engineer,
Mm.
and he had all these documents. And he also worked for NASA at the time, so he had a lot of confidential, eyes only documents that he was working on. And the funny thing is, he always went to work well, somebody would pick them up with a briefcase, and they'd have a briefcase with handcuffs attached to the briefcase.
Mm.
And I thought this was a normal way to go to work. Because, like, oh my, you know, I was like, weird. You get picked up and dropped off by a limo and all these guys, cars, everything else. He couldn't disclose anything. So he had all these secret document plans. And it's weird because when I go in there, all the doors would start opening. I hear weird sounds and voices and engines starting and all the rest. And I don't know if it was attributed to the house or maybe it was really aliens stuff too coming through. I don't know. And the weird part, I guess, when it got really bad was that blood would start appearing in different places. My mother had a fruit cellar, and she would put jars in there and go down, and then she'd see blood dripping from the ceiling onto the floor. Nobody knows where it came from. It's just bizarre. She'd wipe it up, go back, and it would be dripping again. And then at night, I would hear screeching and chopping and everything else, and a whole like box or whole storage thing being pulled across the floor, screaming and like somebody chopping up or an axe being chopped up. And my parents never heard it. My brother never heard it. And I'm like, well, this is crazy. Like it was as loud as shrieking as somebody getting killed. And I go down, there's nothing there. So eventually, things just as it went on, and I was talking to some people who kind of knew on. And I met up with people, and they verified things, and they said, well, the bodies are all chopped up and buried around the house. So that kind of was intriguing. And my parents would always go away on the weekends. So I thought, well, this would be interesting because my room was always freezing cold. It could be 90 degrees outside. It was all freezing cold by the side of the wall. You could hear sounds. You could hear voices. It was always whispers. My closet door would open up in the middle of the night and see little beady red eyes looking at you, standing about 4 feet. And I was like, oh my God, I just freak out. Like, you know, I'm 14 years old. Like, it was all these things that would happen in a movie that nothing was even happening then, and nothing was disclosed or made up at that time.
Right.
So me and my brother got really brave one weekend, and we thought, this is it. We're going to go around the house, side of the house, see if we can dig up stuff and see if there's anything there. And, you know, verify if there's bodies around the house and around the side.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that. Parents went away until around 11 o'clock in the morning. On a Saturday, got together with my brother, his friends. We got our shovel. We started digging around the side of the house where my room was. And, you know, we'd dig all through the not really mess up the garden. We dug about 3-4 feet. There was a lot of topsoil we were just putting up. And next thing you know, we hit a thud. And we go, you know, the shovel hits a thud. And it was like this kind of like big plastic bag that you could see all tied up in a really deep, like strong rope. And it was sitting there, and it's like, oh my God. And it's like, we're looking, and all we could see was like deep blood. Like it was like we'll toss tomato sauce. It was all blood in the bags, and it was all wrapped up, buried in the ground. And we're going, great, now we found the body parts. We didn't even open it up because we just looked in. It was like, obviously, you know, you see blood, you know what it was. It was all correlated. I'm going, oh my God. So like if we told my parents or somebody else, maybe they'd be accessory to murder. So we just piled all those, like everybody ran away. Me and my brother just backed up, and that was it. We left it. Easy. And then we went to the other side of the house. My mother would always have tomatoes, and the tomatoes would be really bad. They would like turn green, but they were like oozing with stuff. And that's where another body part was there. And we're going, oh. So we never ate the tomatoes. We ended up like digging that up, and we found things over there and some bones and stuff. And oh my God. And I was like, that's it. We found some teeth. It's like, this is my house I live in. So I was like, okay, I covered it all up again. And I never ate tomatoes after. My mother would always wonder why the tomato was like rotting and like oozing with stuff. And then she'd open cupboard doors, and blood would be like dripping off the cupboard doors. Like, you know, it would turn almost sugary. You know how blood turns sugar. So it's almost a liquid, but it was sugary and red. And she goes, she wouldn't think anything of it. Oh, I wonder where this is coming from. It must be syrup. It was just like bizarre. So the more and more things that in the 70s, the more things would happen. It was trying to, I could never fall asleep. Things would be always tumbling covers off my bed. The weirdest thing that I ever felt, I would get out of bed and I could hear frogs. I could hear a swamp. I could hear things going on in a swamp and crickets. And going, this is nuts. And I look down and my feet are covered in water and it's soaking. And like you could see a mist rising up from my bedroom rug. And you can see all this mist there. And it was like a swamp there. And I'm walking in a swamp water. And then 5 minutes later, it disappears. It was just crazy. My feet were soaked. It was just like nuts. And there was just more and more things happening until I moved out when I was in my late teens. But my father would never really acknowledge it. He always said the house was settling. He would see things, but he wouldn't acknowledge it.
Right.
Eventually, it got worse. I think it was demon infested. I don't know if I challenged it or what. And I just always tell it to F off and go somewhere and leave because I was fed up, right? Because this thing was bugging me. And whatever, I guess it was between 13 ghosts and maybe some demon stuff. And then things would start happening that would actually come pulsating out of a wall. You'd see hands pulsating. And this was like before movies were ever made.
Right.
And all this stuff was real, documented. And I told TV studios, and that's how it became on television, on Poltergeist. Because they thought it was all made up, but this was all real. And I'd see things walking, the wall would be walking and then things crawling up into the ceiling and like hanging there and black things like spider face people. I go, oh my God, it was nuts. I was so glad when I left. My father sold the house and it was just nuts. And that's basically how I got into it. And then, I was pursuing actually sound and broadcasting, so I went to college that way. And I was really intrigued by sound and EVPs, recording, and the old way of style of recording and all that stuff. And I want to be a sound engineer, so I applied that to my experiences. And when I moved out, nothing really happened for about 2-3 years because I was in college and stuff. Then when I moved in with my girlfriend in Oakville, Ontario. It was a couple years later, just things started happening again. And always seemed to be following me around, but not in a sense that was like evil. It was just something following me. I guess I was open to ghosts and psychic stuff. So when I bought my first house in Burlington, Ontario, it was crazy because I had my office set up, all sound gear, everything else. I started recording. I'd get EVPs. And of course, I bought a house where a guy killed himself, so that didn't help either. And I got all kinds of sounds and things are coming through, and I really enhanced my recording ability. So I got amazing stuff. So I was talking to other people, and people who heard about this, and that time when nobody cared about ghosts, and everybody thought you were nuts or being locked up. Talk about it in the 70s or even 80s. And I met up with an author named John Robert Colombo and some other famous authors who are writing books about ghosts and hauntings, and also Brad Steiger from London, England. So they said, well, you got so much experiences doing all this and nobody's listening to you, and you got all these local folklore stories and ghosts. Why don't you come with me and we'll check out all the Toronto places I know that are haunted. I want to write stories about it, and you can investigate. I thought that was a great deal. So that's how that got started. And then he introduced me to City TV television. And I got on that, all about ghosts and hauntings, and became known as the ghost hunter, well-known ghost hunter, ghost investigator, because nobody ever heard of it. It was big in London, England, it was big in the US, but it wasn't big in Canada. And next thing you know, I got interviewed on that, and I got another show with CBC and talk about my experiences, and then another show with CTV television, bigger stuff. And I was in the news, and people would I would verify a lot of the photos and the sounds and the videos, and became known as Canada's top ghost researcher, even though nobody was doing anything at the time. So it was a niche that I liked, that I fell into. And I also pursued music and sound recording and studios, and I also play guitar. I was on there many years playing professional guitar and vocals for bands. Some famous bands I backed up with Prism, a lot of Toronto bands, a lot of US bands. it was just a time when when I finished college, I was on tour. I just ended up saying tour and live my life and go all across Canada, US, and play in bands for a while. But the psychic ghost stuff always followed me. So then I came back and pursued my recording career. I became a sound engineer for Vancouver Sound. Mushroom Studios, I was a sound engineer. I was doing remote recordings all over Canada and the US. And I used the sound experiences to actually enhance and to learn how to record EVPs and sound. And I got some amazing results. I got like maybe over 400 or 500 EVPs right now, which is very clear and very audible. And it's like a lot of stuff I used to post it on my website, but people started stealing it. So it became really popular. And it's like, then it became really, just people are always calling me for ghost experiences and the ghost guide. And that's really how it got happening. And then I started doing ghost tours and ghost walks in Burlington, Ontario, at a place called Emma's Back Porch, which was very famous at the time. It was on the lake in the Burlington, Ontario. It's closed down now, and I started doing tours there, and they were so intrigued that we did a first night thing, and we had a lot of authors, famous people, and speakers come. It was October 13th, 2001, and I launched it, and to this day, I'm still doing it for 22 years later. So, it was a big event. It was only supposed to happen one time. City TV was there, all the news TV were there. And then other people around the area, other buildings and other owners and restaurants were saying, well, why don't you investigate my house? And I got a haunted place. And I got a haunted house. That's how the tour started. And I was like, oh my God, I went from there. And by 2004, 2006, I was like really phenomenally popular, and we became famous. And all over Canada and the US, and people have learned about it. So that's really how I got into it. I became a historian. I researched all my stuff. All the interviews I did, everything was real, documented. We had many people come out. I used to have groups of 50 to 100 people, and we had actually split the groups up because with other tour guides to accommodate the tour. So it was pretty famous. But like now, I mean, with the recession and with the COVID back in 2018, 2019, it's pretty well died.
Right.
I still do that. I still do historic tours. I do ghost tours. I do ghost investigations. I'm a public speaker on TV shows and radio. I'm a consultant for television shows. And I'm always out investigating, helping people. I clear ghosts, and I go to people's places. I never charge for any of this stuff. Never charge for investigating or never charge for research and all that. It's all because I believe it's a gift and I give people back. And I've always been glad that I had a gift to help other people. And I've always been developing my psychic abilities, and I can sense things and hear things, mostly audio. So I'm clairvoyant. I clear audio.
Okay.
That's a lot. And like I said.
When you were touring, did you have any experiences as you were touring?
I had like ghost experiences in hotels, because hotels being people come in and come out, a lot of residual energy there, especially with band stuff and the leftover stuff. So I'd find a lot of bars were haunted. I'd go in the day before we'd be playing at night. I'd record all over the place and see what I could get, all kinds of stuff. A lot of the bar owners would be telling me about different places that were haunted. Oh yeah, check this out. Go ahead, check, investigate, and all that. So I got a lot of, there was a lot of activity, nothing bad, but most probably leftover people who've been to the bars or restaurant or hung out all there, or a lot of residual. There was some intelligent ghost activity, but nothing. It would just keep playing back like a recording. So I know that one of the main ones that I went to was the Cash Town Inn or Cash Inn in Gettysburg, and oh my God, that is haunted. And this was before it got pretty famous. That if you go to Gettysburg, the Cash Town Inn is like one of the major. It was turned into a hospital during the war of Gettysburg and the battle of 1862. So I was staying there, and they would tell you, oh, I had the ghosts here all the time. Come investigate. The most amazing thing ever was my first apparition. I was coming out of the room, and I saw this soldier, a Union soldier, standing there with a gun, just like that. And you could see the glistening in his eyes. The light was coming in the window. Fully equipped, gun in hand, his hat, his whiskers, everything was in detail. And you look down, his whole body disappeared. It was phenomenal.
Wow.
It was like standing there just like that, not blinking for like 4 minutes. And I went to grab my camera and he was gone. It was like, that was the most incredible apparition I'd ever seen. So it was so as real as us, but there was no body. So it's just phenomenal stuff.
Yeah, Gettysburg is pretty well known for that. I've been to Gettysburg and I've seen a lot there. So I could understand, you know, it's just driving even. All of a sudden you see a few soldiers just, you know, walking by or running or trying to hide, and you're like, did that just happen?
I was at the Gettysburg bash. Go ahead.
No, what did you say? I didn't catch what you said.
Well, I was at the Gettysburg Bash Exchange, so they have one every year in 2019, and we were on the battlefield. We were at National Park. Oh my goodness, I saw everything. We got a lot of stuff, and EVPs, and like you said, at night, and soldiers coming out, and they'd be shooting and firing and disappear. I'd see horses and cannonballs whipping by, and there's nothing there. It was just like phenomenal.
Yes.
So, given that you've been doing this for a while and you've traveled extensively, what's your bucket list? What is it that you haven't done that you would really like to do?
Well, I want to go to Queen Mary, the most haunted ship in the Americas. That would be great because now it's open as a hotel. I want to do the Hinsdale House with Dan Cleese. I was on a show with him, and he's the owner of that place. I want to do what is that? Sleepy Hollow. The graveyards there are supposed to be really haunted from the movie itself. Probably Texas. I want to go to Tombstone, Arizona. I have family in Nevada. So that would be phenomenal, and find about all the gunslingers and all the. They're pretty active, the graves down there, and I think they do tours down there. As much as I can, I would really like to travel, and I'm working less now in a real job and spending more time on what I want to do as my years get older. All you do is work, right? So you want to spend time and do something for yourself.
Right. That's exactly what you need to do, you know, to enjoy and have those memories and those experiences. Now you said you wanted to go to Salem. Any place in particular, or just Salem in general?
Well, there's a whole town of Salem. It's like, you know, they sell antiques. They have all the information about witches.
Right.
I mean, good witches, pagan witches, all that stuff. I'd like to research all that. I'd like to go there and check out some of the bed and breakfasts there. Stay and see what's happening. Probably for some seances. Check all that out. I'm very spiritual in the fact I'm very open, but I'm very protected. So I'm not diving into evil things. I know when my barriers are, my boundaries are. I'm also grounded. I use crystals. So I'm pretty well have experienced everything, including demonic attacks and demonic entities, face-to-face attacks, and things that have spiritually attacked me. But I have dealt with it and moved on, and I got rid of it. It took a long time. I had a curse on me for a couple of years from somebody who didn't like me and other things that would go on, but I got rid of all that. It took a long time, 5-6 years to get rid of a curse, like just things that people put on you as bad energy.
Yeah.
And everything was going wrong. You know, it's like, how does this happen? And you can't fight it because you can't see it. So I did a lot of help with other people and psychics and research and prayers and blessings. And finally got rid of all the stuff in my office and here that was going on for quite a while.
Have you ever gone anywhere that was hyped up and you got there, it's like nothing?
Well, yeah, like I would have to say, because I'm in Canada and I'm on the border of the U.S. and Canada.
Right.
I went to the Angel Inn. We did a whole episode with this sci-fi channel back then on CTV television about the Angel Inn in Niagara Falls in Canada. And it was originally built in 1810. The story is that it did survive the American War, the Battle of 1812. The main person that was there, who was a captain named Captain Swayze, was killed. He ran to the inn to hide. He went down the basement and hid in the beer barrels, thinking nobody would bother him and nobody would find him. And the Americans came in and saw the inn and all the beer, and they opened up all the beer barrels and found him inside the beer barrels, and they dumped all the beer all over the place, dumped it all out, dumped it on him, and stabbed him 13 times. So he was killed and left there, and his ghost is still there. I've seen it a couple times, but it's pretty hyped up for entertainment. I stayed there a whole night and a whole weekend, and I really saw a lot of stuff. I mean, there was a few things, but every time I tried to interact with the ghost, he stubborn, and he thought he was a general, so he didn't want to talk to me. I was a low life subordinate person, and I wasn't American either. So it was beyond. It's still a great place, great food, but it was hyped up, and I've never really seen enough activity. I've gone there many times. The only thing I did see is the fact that if you take down the American flag or the British flag, he goes crazy. He's in his own room. He has his own room. Upstairs, people stay in it. And he does come out and act out. And he is actively there. But from all the hype, I've really not seen much there, not at all.
But everywhere you've gone, you've pretty much found something.
Yeah, I mean, I use my senses and my intuition. I mean, I can tell if something isn't there or is there. Like, I get a lot of calls. I mean, I do investigation for people, and you know how people are. They want to make up stories. They want to interact with you. They want to rub shoulders with you, or you're a celebrity or something. And when I call, oh, there's a ghost here. You got to come and clear, or there's something here in my house or my basement or my building. And I ask about 90 questions before I can really assess what's going on. What happened before? You know, what happened before it happened? Like, you were here all this time, and you have a reaction to an action. So something doesn't just happen; it has to have a reaction. So all of a sudden, like, you're fine. Now what's going on? What did you do? Did you renovate the house? Did you do something? Did you do something else? Did you bury somebody here? Did you kill somebody? Is there a lot of anxiety? Is there a lot of stress? Stress can cause ghost activity, and negative energy can bring out ghost activity. But most of it is psychokinesis. We can put up so much energy through our own minds that we can cause things to happen to appear as a poltergeist. So I have to define, well, what's the history here? Who died here? What was there? And then you can usually tell after all the interviewing, if there's mental problems, is there illness that's causing it, or is it just them, or then, you know, evaluating it, and then trying to help them clear it, because you can never clear something, 100%. It's like you're dealing with the other side, things we don't know about. The paranormal, we still don't know about it. From all my years, I still don't know what's on the other side, even though we get constant, bombardment, images, things, angels, ghosts, spirits, all coming through, and we're just trying to define it and research it and then share it with everybody else. So I try to validate as much as I can to make sure it's real, and if it is, I can document it. If it isn't, I have to say, look, I'm sorry, I just don't get it. I don't feel anything. I bring in other people to pick things up, and if they don't get it, then it's either made up, right? But a lot of people are having a lot of stress these days because of the inflation, because of the economy. So that brings to light a lot of anxiety. Well, I think I have a ghost. I think I have a demon attacking me. Well, what is your life about? Is that being stressed, or you stress yourself, right?
Right.
A lot of people seem to have jumped on the bandwagon here in the United States and try to use that as a way to bring money in. So I was just curious if you'd experienced any of that in Canada.
Well, yeah, not so much, because most people generally want help, and the ones who do want you to come out and then use their name and give them promo and fame and all this stuff. Oh, I have Patrick. He can like do my stuff and he can put me on TV. It just doesn't work that way. And I go where my senses feel. And like there was one woman. It was really funny, an interesting story. It's about 2 years ago. She calls me up. She's living in a farmhouse with her boyfriend, and she goes, "I need help. I have ghosts. I have activity. I have all kinds of stuff going on, and it's bothering me. It drives me nuts. I want to get rid of it." And I go, "Okay, so what did you do before that?" So she was practicing black magic. Okay, I go, "Well, obviously, if that was the case and now you want to get rid of it, you've brought in something and now it's hard to get rid of, right?" So I'm saying all these things to tell her what to do. Sage, call on your spirit guides, talk to God, ask for spirit protection, ask for archangels. Well, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in spirits. I'm not Christian. I go, well, that's part of the battle. If you don't believe in God or anything else, then and nobody's going to help you, how is she going to fight it? So she was constantly telling me, come over, help me out. And I said, "Oh, you can clear ghosts, you can get rid of all this stuff and everything else." So I said, "No, I'm not. I just don't feel. I know there's something there." I told her what to do. I know there was a demon haunting her. I told her how to ignore it, how to get rid of it, and leave it alone and not interact with it. So a couple of days go by, about 4 or 5 days, and she calls me back, and her boyfriend is pissed. He's upset with her. Well, all these things are going on, all this stuff, and she goes, "Well, you didn't help me, and my boyfriend kicked me out, and he said he's not going to have me here anymore and left me. So I have to live at your house now because you didn't come and help me. So you're responsible for my life, and I'm going to live with you because you kicked me out because it was your fault that you never came and visited me and cleared the ghosts." Is it? So I'm going like, yeah, right. It's my responsibility. I'm going like it's just bizarre. So like, I don't want to talk to her. I didn't want to come over because I felt in danger. I felt it gonna jump on me and attack me, and I didn't feel good about it. So she got all upset and mad, blamed me that I didn't help her. Basically, she needed a place to live, and the guy didn't want to do anything with her. That was just a bizarre one incident. I dropped my phone. Sorry.
That's all right.
Oh, what happened? What happened there?
That's how we know it's live.
It's alive. Yes.
So, how do you feel about Ouija boards?
Well, if you use it in the right context, it works. If you don't use it and you don't have a white light around your surrounded when you go into it, asking for protection, surround yourself with white light and ask for only good energy to come through and ghosts, then it works. It's a good guide. But if you go in playing with it, jumping around, asking things to come through, it's like a screen in flies. You're going to bring in all kinds of lower spirits. Once they come in, you can't get rid of them. I've had good results at Ouija boards, and I've had bad results. I've had actual tables lift up, table tipping, energy come through, ghost spirits. You have to literally verify if the spirit is mimicking somebody else, or your mother or father are passed on. So I got a lot of good answers from it, but I really don't encourage anybody to use it. You have to know what you're doing. You have to burn white light. You have to burn white candles. You have to be grounded, and you have to have positive, and then call upon your angels. And if you don't do these things, you can, and then you have to close the circle. So if you don't do these things, you will have leftover ghosts like at your breakfast table or something, and they won't leave, or demons, and then you're in real trouble.
So if you do all those things and you know what you're doing, is the board really necessary?
Intuition can do it. We all have psychic ability. We all can contact ghosts. When you are, the more you can do it. But if you're not trained and you're just playing around, not knowing what you're doing, you can bring in the bad stuff, not knowing it's bad, and then several days later, you have all these kind of things happen to you. So you should be working with somebody who is trained, who is well knowledge about it, and what to do and how to cut it off when things do start happening, and close the board, close the circle, because you are in charge of what's coming in and going out. If you don't like something, then tell them to leave and close the circle.
Mhm.
So aside from Ouija boards, is there something you really feel should never be used?
Well, I find a lot of people, like especially in the U.S., where you guys are they're tormenting the ghosts. They're forcing the ghosts to come through. Here, come on out now. Here's my microphone. Speak.
Mhm.
Yelling at them. Like, we all should be respected. We're ghosts are just spirits that passed on. I mean, we become a
Mhm.
spirit. So now, how do you like it if you're putting a microphone in your face and forcing you to come out and yelling and fighting, going, "Oh yeah, there's a ghost here. Come on out." They're just not going to come. They're going to check you out first, and it's all about respect and having respect for them and spirits and overall. And if you don't want to do that, and you want fame and fortune and just force ghosts to come through, or demonic, oh yeah, I got this guy who's coming down, I want demon, I want to force it. It's not gonna do anything good for you. It's gonna come back. Karma comes back at you.
Mhm. Very true.
So I believe in this. I believe in the spiritual light. I walk in the spirit energy. I walk in the light. I probably tempted a lot of times with energy and ghosts. I've had ghosts in my car, walkthroughs. I've
Mhm.
had ghosts, coming from work or from a shopping plaza, and somebody, how's it going? In my car, and there's nobody there. So it's like I always have a tape recorder. I always have a camera, to document stuff, because it's always around me, but it's around other people, and I just don't be like it. I don't like being in crowds because I don't like picking up energy. You go into Walmart, it's a heavy energy, negative energy. People are thinking. Sadly, I pick it up because I'm very open, and I just feel like, oh no, I can't be around that guy. Oh, I feel this guy. Oh, he's really pissed off, something. So I've done really well at giving readings, but I really don't want to do readings because I don't, to me, I don't charge. If I do readings, it's to help somebody, but I'm not there to this is like not astrology. It's not horoscope course. Oh yeah, what's happening next? What's happening? I'm not interested. I try to help people's lives, and I help them with ghosts and clearing, and having them to live a good life and have energy, positive, and be positive with that. But um, I'm not interested. I'm not really not. I am psychic, sensitive, but I just don't like doing readings.
Mhm. Okay. Well, not everything is for everybody, so, and that's the key here that people have to understand. Just like going into a place and seeing what's in there, um, it's the way you approach it, and everybody approaches it differently. So, like you, we go in and we kind of respect what's there. We ask them to let us in, to give us permission to walk in, and we speak to them, and we want to hear what they have to say, their story, which is very important
For
because
sure.
later on we could go to the records, the historical records, the cemetery records, the family names, and research and verify the information that way. And it sounds like that's the same thing you do, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, probably my claim to fame, the big one that I did that's now out there, and from my ghost tours here,
Hmm.
is a haunted statue. It's a solid bronze haunted statue. I think I told this to you on the other show.
Hmm.
And the statue is in City Hall here in Burlington, and it's known as a cenotaph. It's a solid bronze. Nothing moves. There's no buttons or anything to push that moves it, but it moves. His hands move down the rifle. His hands shift. His feet move. His eyes open wide, white. His eyes close. There's all kinds of ghost mist around him. There's all kinds of sounds. There's voices fighting, guns, running, marching. It's fantastic, and it's inhabited by a ghost named Alfred Johnson, who was fought in the World War II. The statue is a World War I infantry soldier, and he came back to Burlington, and he is there. He knows he's dead. He's protecting the town from invasion, from fighting. he thinks he's still on guard for protection to Canada. So it's phenomenal. And it's like I researched this all, like you said, through history from the Royal Canadian Legion. So he is the ghost of Alfred Johnson. And it all started off in 2003 or 4. And I was looking at it because people would go by. We want to be part of a tour. We wanted to incorporate it into a tour. And I thought, well, this is really cool. What's the history? And it was the statue was built in 1823 after the war, First World War of 1818. And it was installed in the city hall. So people would always go by, hear sounds, voices, marching, talking. And we started investigating. I got my tape recorders and my friend Jim. And we started hearing a voice saying, I lived a hero, I died a hero. It was a gruff kind of a voice, a young voice. And we found out it was intelligent, was talking back to us. So we'd ask us questions, and it kept saying, no, I lived a hero, I died a hero. Please remember me. He died in the war. He was killed. And he came back to Canada. So he's here, and he's protecting down. And he goes, well, look, I'll prove it to you that I'm here. So the anniversary of his death, he'd said on August 19th, was when he died, I guess. August 19th, he battled, I will come alive. And we didn't really know what that meant. So here we go. So August 19th comes, and we all run around. He says, I'll shift my hands on the rifle. I'll move, I'll move around. You can see me alive as the living person who I am, as a ghost. So we thought that was kind of weird and not sure. Yeah, nobody ever heard of this. So we went down there. Sure enough, around 11:10 p.m. on August 19th, me and Jim were there. No, I think 2 other people was there because we're trying to check this out. And we had cameras going in our house, and sure enough, all this white mist comes flying up. A bell rings, one of the bells they have from the clocks rings 11:15. And all of a sudden, when his eyes open up white, all the smoke is coming up over him, everything else, we got pictures of it. And his hands, you can literally see shift on the rifle. And I'm going, wow. And I caught that. I kept filming, I kept shooting. My camera was shooting, going, holy cow. And the thing, the hands moved down the rifle, the boots moved, the eyes moved. It was phenomenal. And we heard all those voices of marching and feet going by, sounds of gunfire. It was just phenomenal. And the next thing, we said, well, Jim was smoking a cigarette. He's leaning on the statue as we're taking pictures, and he dropped the cigarette. Cigarette goes on the ground. He goes pick it up, and the whole thing goes zoom. And Jim goes, where'd my cigarette go? So he gets another one, lights it, puts it on the ground. Thing just literally goes zoom, like smoke all the way down. Go, whoa! So Alfred, did you do that? We didn't. We're looking at him, and all the smoke is coming out of his head, out of his eyes, out of his ears, and going, whoa, this is cool. So we got the cigarette, another one, hold it up for him because he has no arms, legs, body, anything else. So it starts puffing. We light it, it's puffing away, and embers on it, and it's all going red. It's puffing away, and there's no wind, no nothing, going, whoa, this is so cool. Alfred smoking a cigarette. He hadn't had one for 40 years. So it's like, there you go, we had 3. And we caught it. There's no other way of drawing on it. You have to puff it. You have to smoke it. So it's phenomenal. And we just got this going, wow, this is fantastic. And all the smoke is coming from his mouth and his eyes. He's probably really excited because he never had a cigarette before. So we incorporated it in the tour. Next tour, we do this, and we get a cigarette, and you hold it. We got all captured on video, and it was phenomenal. And it went viral all over the place. Everyone's going, wow. We had like 30 people saying, yep, he's smoking a cigarette, recorded it. So the best definition recorded of this is in 2018 on my YouTube video, and it definitely shows it, clearly shows it. And then prior to that, the city of Burlington was going, well, Patrick, you're really going crazy on this. Are you nuts? Are you just stupid? Or everybody's, this is a sensation. The next thing, since sliced bread. And the city is getting weary if I'm making up all these stories or not. So they want to make sure it's true and I'm not making it up or selling the wrong thing or being fake about it. So they get the TV camera. Okay, August 19th, you're going to come down and we're going to see all this happen, and you can promote the history of the city of Burlington. But if it doesn't happen, you're going to look pretty bad making up all these stories that aren't true, right? That they think aren't true. So, okay, we get August 19th, we get City TV, we get one of the reporters from Burlington Post. They're interested. Kim comes down. I want to do a story about this. It's fantastic history about the ghosts. I go, sure, no problem. So we come down. We have all the camera crews down. Fox Television comes down from Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
We have CTV Television. We have all across Canada. We have maybe like major television all place here, all lined up with cameras and everything going, oh, man, this is not going to look good. Because if it doesn't work, I look like an idiot. And there goes my tour.
Mm-hmm.
So sure enough, because about 11:15, everybody's all set up, cameras, television. And I tell him, no, you got to turn off the lights because he's going to get really upset. He's not going to perform. He got tons of lights on you and nothing's going to happen. So they all go dim and they shoot live and they shoot black and they'll have infrared. And okay. So I'm standing there, have a cigarette. I'm talking to Alfred, we're here tonight to view you, to honor you, to help you and prove that you're a spirit, living spirit in the statue. And
Mm-hmm.
you can do the same things you can after life as you do in life.
Right.
Please come through. Okay. So next thing, the bell goes off, clock goes off, all this mist comes rising up. Everybody's looking around to see if there's a fog machine around or something I'm doing. Nope. One of the reporters comes around, checks out, no, there's no buttons, nothing. Patrick's not doing anything. We're looking up and his eyes start opening pure white. And this mist, this cloud of white light comes flying everywhere. We see a giant sword go across. We see sounds, we have voice, like it's just like a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And another face goes flying and sounds and marching, guns, and everybody's going, wow. And then next thing you know, his hands shift on the rifle like this. I'm going, oh my God. And everybody's going, and they're all watching, filming this. So we got captured. It was fantastic. I said, thank you very much. Everybody's all freaking out, running around. Where'd that go? Where's the they're all running around. They go, there you go, I won. So I did it. Fantastic. And it went viral across Canada, the US, and became famous out of it. And that's really how all the stories and all this, everything after that followed for more news and television. I got on Creepy Canada TV series out of that. We did 4 episodes. I got YTV Television, Ghost Trackers, Haunted Case Files. I got that. What is it? A whole match of television shows just came out of it. But it was all verifiable,
Right.
It was like, it was all real and nothing was made up. Everything was done. And then I continued doing the tours and became famously popular. And to this day, I still do like a lot of the tours and investigations.
Right. Now, does that statue every single year at the same time, same day becomes alive, right? Basically?
Well, the main thing, but he still does. He still smokes a cigarette when we do tours. So, I mean, people have gone down, and recently you can see on my webpage, it took like 13 years to get a story from Burlington Post. It's like kind of like because he's done it long enough, so we can acknowledge the story now. But it's finally acknowledged the story, even though it was written up before on Burlington local news.
Right.
About and the pictures and the story of Alfred the Haunted Statue. Long time before people verified it, and I'm going, well, how long does it take? It's on my Facebook page. You can see the video, see the actual video of him smoking. So it's fantastic stuff.
And so basically, every single time you do a tour, you have people witnessing the smoking.
Yeah, I must go out. And if it's really windy, it doesn't work. And a lot of times the weird part is Alfred only likes certain cigarettes. So well, when you're in the war, right, it's all hard cigarettes, meaning it's rolled, tobacco rolled, whatever you can, papers. So a lot of times it was Camel. So a lot of people would give him like an export or a player. Well, players work, but I mean, there's other like weird cigarettes. And he just didn't like it. He'd start it and it would just fizz out, so he wouldn't smoke it. But then a lot of times I would have my own cigarettes with me because I know he likes the hard players.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd show everybody first. Look, it's nothing done to this. There's nothing on it. There's no yellow. And after he smokes it, most of the time, pretty well all the way down to the butt, you can see the yellow of the nicotine on the butt, which is impossible. The only way you can do that is by smoking a cigarette.
Right.
And everybody's seen it, so it's not like 30 people would see it. and they would go and film it or videotape it and then post it to all their friends and have more people come out on the tours.
Now, do you sense that he has never gone to the light and come back, or do you sense that he did and chose to come back, or how do you?
Like we've told him, and even other psychics said, like, you don't have to stay here. You're dead and gone. Your life is over.
Mm-hmm.
But he thinks it's his duty. He might have gone light, but I've told him to go, and he doesn't want to go. And he goes, "No, I like the city. I like the surrounding." He thinks the war is still happening. He's still seeing the city in the year of the war, 1940s. He just sees everything the same. So, you know, how do you clarify that? This is the present. He sees the present, but he also sees the past.
Right.
He sees his buddy walking by. He sees his ghost buddies who have died. You know, there's my friend who got shot. Yeah, like I'm talking to him right now. It's just bizarre, and the guy's dead, right? It's like, oh my God. So they have major conversations going on.
Do you feel there's any chance, since he hasn't gone to the light, that he can begin to become negative in any way?
I honestly don't know that. I mean, I try to be open and positive about what he's doing and what he's trying to accomplish, but he seems happy with his cigarettes. And he's happy that he's there. So he was a young guy, he died 24.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he does go light and comes back, because I know like ghosts can do that. Once they're gone, they can come back.
Right.
But I'm honestly not sure. I haven't spent enough time to see. I've asked him, and then when I ask him certain questions, no answer.
Right.
So it means he's neglecting it or doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, it sounds
like he doesn't glorify he got he doesn't glorify he got killed. He doesn't say he goes sad he got killed. He said how he got killed. He was shot in the chest and in the heart, but he doesn't like glorify it. He says it stings when he smokes a cigarette.
Mm.
It burns. It affects him. He can't smoke a cigarette properly because I guess he's got bullet wounds and holes in his, in his throat and everything else. It's hard for him to smoke.
Yeah. I don't feel that he didn't go. I believe he went to the light and then came back and just likes to be there in that town. So he may not like to talk about going, because that, it's easier than to just say, go back, or, we don't want you here. Maybe he's just trying to make sure he enjoys his memories of how the town used to be before the war or whatever.
Just so you know, I just got this up on my computer. I'll show you the ghost photo right now. You can take a look at it.
Wow.
That's Alfred.
Okay.
You can see the hands moving with the rifle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty phenomenal. With his eyes opening.
Mm-hmm.
And the mist and faces and the rifle.
Now, is that on your Burlington Ghost Walks website? It's
on my Discovery Ghost Patrick Cross page, and it is on Burlington Ghost Walks page, yes.
Okay.
So that's the main one that I have actually caught. Mm-hmm. I have a couple other ones in different colors and orange that he has done, but that's my claim to fame, shall I say. But it was fun.
Well, you've done a lot. It's all you claim to fame. Yeah. I realize that's the one that people gravitate to because it's dramatic. But when you give them a chance to offload and be debriefed, mm-hmm. that's important. Mm-hmm. Regardless of who they are or what they did. Now, have you written about this stuff?
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, it's in the news articles, and I've written other stuff. I don't have my book out yet, but I've got like 13 chapters in my book I'm working to be published. It's all done, but yes, it's called oh my God, Paranormal Demons and Entities. Okay. No, True Accounts, Paranormal Demons and Entities is what it's called. Mm-hmm. And I have the cover and everything else, but I just haven't had the ability. I've got a publisher, but I'm just in the works of trying to get it out.
Okay.
And it's documented my main cases of what I've done, and the main scary stuff I've done, the demonic attacks, and me being exposed to the paranormal and all my life that I've been doing stuff.
Great. So people can look for that. Do you have any scheduled appearances, or besides the ghost walks, where people can meet you and greet you? Are you going to any paracons that you're planning, or?
I hope to go to the Sleepy Hollow Paracon in New York in the fall, and I find that the fall there's more. I find the conventions are better in the fall because summer's over. People want to do things. They want to interact. So I may be doing. I think I'm doing 2 in the summer here coming up. I'm doing one in a couple in Canada. I do tours in Niagara on the Lake and near Buffalo there, near that area.
Okay.
And Canada side is Niagara Falls. So I'm doing that stuff. And then whatever comes along. And I'm still doing podcasts. I'm still doing shows. I'm open to doing to good conventions. I'm not there to just oh, I'm great, come and see me. I'm there to do research and help people and learn and share experiences. So that's the main thing about it. It's not like, wow, he's on a conference, he's on kind of we're all the same. So I mean, we're all spiritually the same, psychically the same. If I can help people and show people and learn from other people, and it's great when you do conventions because you see other people's works, other people's videos, what they caught and share. It's pretty exciting. It's lots of fun.
Well, we've got a couple of minutes left. Is there anything you want people to know, or anything you want to promote coming up real quick?
Yeah, this is going on for a while, but I have an actual haunted mirror in my washroom downstairs in my house here. And it's phenomenal because the ghost is interacting. She's coming through. It's a female. And I don't really know who she is. It all started in 2018. But I've been getting mist coming through. She's been touching me, my arms. She touches my neck. You can see the hands clearly. It's phenomenal. It's on TikTok. It's on my Facebook page. Okay. She's very active, and I have her recorded, some EVPs, but she's always touching me. She's coming through, and she's in a mist. Very, very clear, and just very sexual, shall I say. But she's just obsessed with me. She's always touching my hair and touching my, oh my God. But it's pretty fantastic. I've been capturing her in the mist coming through in photos, and got some amazing, just phenomenal pictures of her caught.
Well, we put that up, and hopefully people will be able to reach out to you.
Right.
And I'm going to throw it to Glenda to wrap up if she has anything.
Basically, I want to say thank you for being here, Patrick. Again, it's wonderful to talk to you and hear all about you. So many interesting experiences, and the way you approach things is nice and refreshing.
Very Canadian. Very different from down here.
Right.
No,
right.
Well, I am originally U.S. I'm originally American, but I am here living in Canada. But I mean, I still have family, as I said, in Nevada and Reno, Nevada.
Right.
Okay. All right. And
but thank you for having me on again. And again, I'm here to help people and help people learn and spiritually open them up. And again, that's what we all are doing. We're trying to share and help others. And if you're just going to be closed up and keep it all yourself, what's the point? If you're not going to do anything to help it and help in the industry and help the para community, I'm always there to help people and help ghosts and answer people's questions. I get really busy. I get like 50 to 100 emails a day. I get like 20 calls alone just on investigations on the phone to go everywhere. So I mean, pretty active and pretty visible. And I just turn down a lot of stuff. I just can't make it. But I'm available to answer people's questions.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Blessed be. Thank you. Many blessings. And again, we love you all.